Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the most must-listen-to podcast on YouTube. Welcome to
Film frauds.
Film frauds.
That is
Yeah.
right. Speaking right now, as always, is Matt, and in front of me is the hand of the king, Lord Tyler of Hudson Hill. Say hi,
Nice.
Tyler.
Hi.
And introducing, as an official member of Film Frauds, our podcast resident Reddit regurgitator, Mark
Oh.
Mark.
Parcel. Yeah. Hello.
I don't want to say
Thank
I
you.
don't know if we want to say your full name, so I just
No.
kind of like stuttered a bit. Yeah. Speaking of stuttering, we have 2 new mics on the podcast, so there might be some audio problems, but just bear with us you don't listen to us for our quality of what we're using to record. You listen to us for our funny banter, and that should overlook any.
I like how it's
technical
not
issues.
like quality of movie discussion. It's just funny banter. And even
Yeah.
that's questionable at a certain
No,
point.
it really isn't that funny though, to be honest. But this is exciting times for Film Frauds, right, Tyler?
Yeah, because we're becoming more professional.
Yes.
We're officially, we're like, all right, we're going to decide on a new rating system instead of going like making a stupid schmoes no joke. Because I feel like we've already beaten that to death and giving some kind of like 3.5 out of 5. So we're going to just do our basic new rating system, which we're going to give at the end of spoilers. So it's kind of like we give all our points and then we talk about it at the end. It's a very simple A, B, C, D, F. There's going to be no plus or minuses. And I think they'll add for more kind of discussion and kind of fun times. I think it'll make it more fun. I think there's too much kind of like B minus, C plus stuff, or it's just a B, a C. I think that'll create some interesting discourse between us on the movies we discuss.
That's true.
Yeah. We also have a Twitter. It's at Frauds Filmed. It'll be in the description of the video.
Oh, that's what it is, at Frauds Film.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not Film Frauds. I just did the Twitter. I'm not really technically savvy, but we're going to tweet stuff. All of us, we all have access to the Twitter. So just follow us because you'll find links to our videos when they're up. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yes.
So
Is that all the news?
that's all the new news we have. If we have any more, we'll update in another episode.
Excellent. It's now time for the discussion. Tyler, what movie did you recommend for us to talk about?
Before we talk about the movie, we ran this down 6 times before. Before we talk about my recommendation, we want to talk about relevant-ish news. Movie theaters are opening back up in July. We're recording this at the end of June. Matt, you're our host, and you failed.
Yeah.
So movie theaters are opening.
How dare you?
Come on, Matt. Yeah, movie theaters are opening back up in July, and we figured with Tenet coming out July 31st, I think there's a weird Russell Crowe creepy stalker movie coming out like middle of July called Unhinged.
Yep.
Have you heard of that? Has
No.
anyone heard of that? I think he
It's Fanatic 2.
Jesus, that's lame.
Oh,
Is
come on,
that,
yes,
is that the John Travolta movie?
Yeah, it's the John Travolta movie.
God damn.
Wait, do you know what the first line of dialogue in that movie is?
I can't stay long. I have to poo.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that the first line of dialogue in The Fanatic?
That's the first line of dialogue.
Have you guys seen that movie?
No,
You
but I
know the
watched the
band-
Red Letter Media review for it.
That makes sense.
Do you know Limp Bizkit, the band?
The
Yeah.
90s band?
Of course, they were
Yeah,
the essential band of the Attitude Era in wrestling in the
Oh my
late
God.
90s.
I think the drummer for Limp Bizkit directed that movie.
No, like the singer.
Oh, the singer. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the
what
Limp
a-
Bizkit guy.
What a
I knew it was a guy in
terrible way-
Limp Bizkit, yeah.
What a terrible
how
way
do
to
you go?
start
How
the
did
discussion.
how did Travolta go from Pulp Fiction to that?
Drugs.
He did
Drugs.
goatee though. Gotti.
Scientology and drugs, yeah.
Yeah.
Allegedly. We should preface, we don't want to be contacted by John Travolta's Scientology lawyers.
We don't want Lord Senior to come after us.
Yeah.
Well, despite The Fanatic and Unhinged, movie theaters are opening back up. And with Tenet, we all have our own kind of personal situations, which we don't have to delve into. But do you guys plan on seeing movies in July when they open? Like, Tenet's a major movie, and it's one that'd be really cool to talk about. But, I mean, we're the 2020, Matt, you said it, the Lord and Savior year of Corona.
Yeah.
Do you guys plan
Year
on
of
going
our
back?
Lord and Savior Corona.
Year of, sorry. Mark, do you plan on going back to movie theaters anytime soon?
No.
No?
No. Which is it's good that I just got a projector, so that'll suffice for now. I don't think I'll go back until there's a vaccine, to be quite honest. So Christopher Nolan can wait.
Yeah.
What about, so during fall releases when everything's starting to come out again, you won't see anything?
I will not go to the theater.
You're not going to the theater? Matt, what
Nope.
about you? Would you go see anything?
I guess it would depend on like the restrictions that our theaters are doing. Like if it's just a free for all, then no, I would not be going. But I think that if they did, because my parents go to church and stuff, and what they do now is they have someone waiting outside to give them assigned seating, so everyone's socially distancing. So they could obviously implement something like that at the movie theater. Just have someone out, have like a staff worker outside saying like, you're sitting here, you're sitting here, you're sitting here, so everyone's distant. I would not be eating or drinking anything from a theater for a long time, but I could potentially see myself going to see Tenet. But I mean, with recent news, I think that a lot of states in the U.S. Have started seeing increases in infection rates, like starting yesterday. So I mean, like I'm saying, I would potentially I could see myself do it, but I'm not saying that yes, I'm going to go see Tenet in July.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, Matt. I'm not a definite no like you, Mark, but it's kind of the day-by-day, case-by-case basis. I really want to see Tenet, but I also, I don't think Tenet will end up staying. I don't think any major movies are going to come out. I think everything through August gets pushed. Like, I know August is the Bill and Ted Face the Music. It's the SpongeBob movie. And then September, you start getting the movies that are pushed back at the beginning of the summer. I don't see movies coming out this summer. I'd be really surprised if Tenet stuck to its release dates with coronavirus cases spiking. But that again, if I might go and sit in, you know how theaters kind of have the big up section and then the lower kind of where everyone walks and then the kind of crappier seats. I could see myself sitting in a crappier seat where no one's going to sit near me and going and staying away from everyone. Cause then I'm probably 6+ feet back and then maybe, but then again, who knows? I don't know.
It's not like there's no talking in a movie. Well, I mean, usually there's not talking in a movie theater. So it's not like you don't go to a movie theater for human interaction, really. So it could be one of the safer places to go to. But again, like it's a day-by-day case. It's a day-by-day basis. You know, one day everything can be fine. Next day they're gonna be skyrocket infection rates everywhere, and then I would be like, no, I don't want to go.
That also is like a good way for us to explain, hey, when new movies come out, we may not review them.
Yeah.
Or we may months down the line.
You picked a great time to start a YouTube movie review channel.
I know. We're the best. Yeah, that's just like a long-winded way to say, hey, Tenet's going to come out, and if it does, there's a good chance we might not talk about it. I don't know. It's really like the end of July could come, and things could be better-ish, and then I might go sit and see it, and who knows? But yeah.
Is there like a rent a hazmat suit sort of business that we could?
Can we start that instead of film?
That's the gap in the market that we need to fill.
Instead of people paying for the hazmats, they have to promise to subscribe and watch one of our videos fully while they're there. No, that's we just wanted to talk about that because it's just a way to say, hey, we might not see any movies.
Yeah.
So, all right, Matt, 2-3 weeks ago, I recommended a movie from 2006 called The Marine.
Yes.
This movie is absurd, but we should figure that right now, The Marine, I recommended it solely off because when I was younger, when it came out in 2006, so I was 8. And in the trailer for this movie, there's a shot where the girl drops her clothes. And I was not allowed to see this movie. My parents would not let me see it. So when I was 13, I finally saw it, and I forgot everything about it, and then I watched it 2 weeks ago.
And what'd you think?
First, before I tell you what I think, I actually want to hear what you guys think first. But I just want to run down the plot real quick. That basically this entire movie is John Cena plays John Triton, who's a Marine, who is a Marine, and who's a Marine.
Yeah. And he has a wife.
And he has a wife. And he's also the best damn Marine out there.
Yes.
He gets fired from a security job a day into working.
Yeah. It was his first day.
And then he effortlessly and horrifically brutally murders the bad guys.
Yeah.
And that's 90 minutes, and that's the movie.
Yes.
Mark, I feel like you have Matt likes wrestling. Matt knows about this movie. Mark, I don't feel like you have ever even cared to the Marine to cross your brain. What did you think about the Marine?
Well, I just want to clarify that I didn't know this movie existed until about 5 or 6 days ago.
What?
Well, I remember like a year ago when we were like scrolling through Netflix at Tyler's house, and like the Marine 6 showed up, and you guys were like freaking out. I was like, what is going on? What is going on right now?
Not to give my opinion away, but the Marine 6 is still the best Marine movie.
I can't. You watched all 6 of them?
I've seen Marine 1, 2, and 6.
How dare you? Anyway,
oh my God.
Marcus watched Pacific Rim 20 times is telling me how to spend my time watching movies.
It's justified. It's justified. Let's see. The Marine. Whew. Well, here's my thoughts. Well, when the movie started and it said WWE Films, I kind of got whiplash. I was like, what is? What did I just read? Yeah, that was kind of jarring. I didn't know that was a thing.
You know it was a WWE movie?
No, I had no idea.
Oh wow.
I thought John
God.
Cena was just like his agent was like, "Yo, you need to do this. Nobody's coming to your wrestling matches anymore," or something. Anyway,
Hey, WWE had really good ratings back then.
okay, well that's just my guess. Anyway,
Well, your guess is wrong.
so the Marine. Let's see. When it finished, I was utterly convinced that it was a Michael Bay student film, and he had tricked investors into funding this atrocity. Is it an atrocity? I don't know.
Are you even going to bother with a non-spoiler section, or can we just talk about?
No, we can. Sorry, spoilers for
This
the
movie-
Marine.
Yeah.
This movie has nothing to spoil. I can tell you the ending right now. John Cena kills all the bad guys and gets his wife. That's the end of the movie.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
go for it, Mark.
Yeah,
Well,
go for it.
there was some moments where I was laughing really, really hard, and I think the funniest moment for me was when that in the third act when the guy goes underneath the shack to turn on the power. he turns on the power, and then the main bad guy looks over at like the jukebox, and it turns on, and like the camera dollies into the jukebox, and then it cuts back to the bad guy, and he's like, cool. And then it cuts underneath the shack, and John Cena flies out of these like wooden planks, and then just kills the guy with a knife. And
It's like a horror movie kind of setup. Like, except John Cena's the good guy, but he's killing the guy like it's a horror movie. Like one guy goes off on his own in a cabin in the woods, and then the bad guy comes through the walls and brutally murders him.
He even
with a
says
knife.
he's like, I don't want to get killed by no Jason over there.
Yeah.
And then John Cena. All right, Mark. So that was your best scene.
Well, I have another thing. One thing I noticed: the first, second, and third act all end with John Cena jumping and flying out of a burning or blowing up building.
It's great.
Wait, I want to say something. The wife literally thinks John Cena blows up and dies 3 times in this movie. Like every time she's leaving, every time the bad guys like kidnap her and take her away, it always ends up looking back in whatever vehicle they're in and seeing the building she thinks Cena is in exploding into a million pieces. And that happens at 3 separate occasions. This poor woman must be psychologically damaged after this.
Yeah. Let's see. I like how at the end, like the bad guy dies, and then like John Cena like reunites with his wife, and then the bad guy comes back, and he's just like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Destruction to his face.
Up. Yeah.
And then John Cena just brutally murders him in like 2 or 3 seconds, and it doesn't even the altercation doesn't even last like more than 5.
No.
It's just like, oh, he's back, oh, he's dead.
Well, it's realistic.
John Cena.
It's John Cena.
Yeah.
It's John.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen his muscles in this movie? Come on.
Yeah.
He wears the tightest shirts.
Yeah.
You guys talk because I could go on for a while.
Matt, what did you think of the Marine?
It was not as good as I wanted it to be. I was kind of bored throughout most of it. There's a couple brilliant moments, like when he's in the gas station and he sees his wife getting kidnapped and he tries to run for the door, and then the bad guy has the fire extinguisher, just nails him in the head, and it goes dong, like it's from the Three Stooges, and he just does a backflip. And then like the beginning scene was interesting. There's so much awkward humor in this movie that just, I think that was like the most damning element of it, was that all the humor they try to is so bad. And normally, so like in a movie like Die Hard, so you relate to the protagonist more because John McClane more because he's in a serious situation and he's taking it seriously, but he also has some like whimsical moments, like the famous in the ventilators, go to the club, have you laugh scene. Yeah. But then like the bad guys are all serious. In this movie, the bad guys are joking around and are just kind of like goofy, and John Cena is like this emotionless, crazy psychopath. He's like there's like this weird dichotomy that doesn't really work because it's supposed to be the main character, it's supposed to be the more relaxed one and the more relatable one, but no, the main character of this movie is a complete psychopath. Everyone in the movie is a psychopath to some regard, especially if you like take this movie seriously. But like Cena especially just has no character at all. And my favorite line in the movie was when he takes the police cop car and then he's like he's telling the police where the truck is going, and he goes, and they have my wife. No, he says, and they have one hostage. It's my wife. Like, that makes a difference at all to the cops. Like, oh, okay, that changes the scenario somehow. But yeah, like, that's really all I have to say about it. Just wasn't really as good as I wanted it to be.
I like how it's just sort of assumed that everybody knows who John Triton is. Like, in the movie, like, he gets on he takes the cop car and he's like, "This is John Triton," as if the dispatcher should know what that even means. And,
I unironically think this is a good movie.
Can you explain?
Okay, I have never watched a movie that so adamantly knows what kind of movie it is, and the only reason I know this is because of one scene where because the main villain of this movie is Robert Patrick, who's known for being the T-1000 in Terminator 2.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where John Cena is his entire. So do you guys know cartoon gags when a car gets kind of destroyed and they're just riding on like the frame and it kind of like putters to a stop? That happens to John Cena in this movie, except he keeps driving. But there's a point where they go, "He's like the Terminator," and then it cuts to Robert Patrick, and he basically looks at the camera and smiles. And at that point, I realize that this movie knows exactly what it is, and it's that, hey, it's just a stupid action movie. There's also, like, there's a point where they went, there hasn't been enough action. Hey, let's have John Cena kill 2 people in the woods. who run up
they get captured by these country guys. And they're like, "Yo, you a cop, man?"
Yeah, and then he goes, "No," and then they punch him twice, and then he does a flip, breaks the chair, and then kills both of them.
Yeah.
And then immediately kills them, and then just keeps running out to the woods. And he doesn't even look where he's going. He just runs out in a direction and just heads into the woods. This entire movie is 75 minutes of John Cena running through the woods and getting out of exploding buildings. It's also, there is a weird plot in this movie where the main guy, the one like black villain, one of the guys has talks 3 times about how he was sexually assaulted as a kid. There's
and it's
even
for a joke.
Did you not catch that? There's this weird where he's like, "And I don't like rock candy," and you're like, okay, and he kind of like has this thing where he looks off into the distance, and you're like, what's that about? And then he says it again, and then they have a confession at the bar where he's like, one day at summer camp, one of the counselors, he said I had rock candy in my cabin. And then he like admits, and he's like, "This never leaves the cabin." And then he goes out and gets murdered by John Cena in the horror movie element. And it's like, what is happening?
But it's played for laughs too. Like they have funny music in the background when he's being serious.
That's the point. Is this entire movie is a joke, and it knows it's a joke. There's a weird scene where they go to get the car, and there's like this weird, horrible editing of like 70s pop music.
Yeah.
Where like it's like the whole bow chicka bow wow kind of music when he sees like a cooler car than the van, because he's like, "Hey man, I don't want to drive no van," and you're like, "Okay," and then he like pans, it does like a hard pan to the car, and it's like does that cheesy music, and then he rides off into the sunset, and that's 4 minutes of the movie is that scene. This movie knows it's a joke. The only time I would say the movie's bad is when John Cena fights the people at the hotel, and at that point I think they went up until that point, filmed that scene, and went, "This movie sucks. Hey, Robert Patrick, kill your henchmen for no reason."
Yeah.
Like, he kills 2 of his people, like, in the swamp. They're like, one of them's arguing, he's like, "Oh, and then shoots him. And you're like, okay. This movie is so much fun.
I would say the movie knows it's a joke, but the joke is poorly executed.
Yeah.
Like, just because it knows the joke doesn't mean the joke is told well. Like, it's trying to go for like flippant, funny moments, but like when it's just the T-1000 and his girlfriend left, and they go like, "Oh, we need a new car," and he's like, "Well, I have an idea," and it plays like the Deliverance to the down down song, and she's like trying to hitchhike.
Yeah.
The hill and then the hillbilly comes over. It's like, it's trying to be funny, but I understand that it's not taking itself seriously, but it still doesn't change the fact that it's not funny.
I think
that's what like sucked the life of the movie out for me, because it just wasn't funny to me.
I found the fun. I don't know about you, Mark, because again, this is like, I found the funny moments to be in the action itself, and that's where, even if the comedy was lacking, I found the action beats to be good enough and to have their own sets of comedy, unintentional comedy. don't get me wrong, that it kept me entertained throughout. Mark, like, I don't know, like, you talked about the horror movie scene. What about the scene where he gets, like, the final bad girl and, like, grabs the truck and throws her into another bus on oncoming traffic and she explodes? I mean, that's just great.
That was so jarring. I was like, oh, she died.
Yeah,
She just, like, she got pulverized.
Yeah.
Like, she went, like, at least 80 miles an hour into a glass pane.
That's the...
And then you just see the diamonds covered in blood.
Yeah, that's where I feel like it's really fun because it's also shot terribly. Don't get me wrong. Where it's like she's, like, flying on a green screen and then hits the bus, and the bus is, like, superimposed in the background. It's great.
Yeah, but they didn't film on a green screen because they thought it'd be funny. They filmed on a green screen because they were lazy and didn't have, like, the good filmmaking expertise to make the scene compelling.
So, have any of you guys seen 12 Rounds?
Yes.
No.
Have you, Mark? Probably. Have you ever heard of 12 Rounds, Mark?
I've heard of 12 Monkeys.
Okay, it was a 2009 John Cena movie called 12 Rounds with Littlefinger.
Yep.
Aidan Gillian.
Yeah.
And he's the bad guy, and that's a John Cena movie that thinks it's a lot smarter than it really is. This is a movie I think that if you look at it and you go, "This is all a joke." I think
but because it thinks it's smart, it makes it more funny when it falls on its face. Like in 12 Rounds, the Manny scene, or he's on the elevator, and the compelling set piece is Manny is too fat to get up, and it's played straight, and like it's supposed to be awesome and like tragic, but it's not as hilarious. Like the Marine isn't trying, and that's what makes it lame. Whereas 12 Rounds is trying, and when it falls in his face, it's funny.
We should add context, Mark. In 12 Rounds, there's a scene where the bad guy's going to explode an elevator, and John Cena and this really fat security guard have to get on top of the elevator shaft, and then Manny gets on top of the elevator shaft but trips, and then he's too fat to stand back up, and he dies. And the camera, like, pans on him as he goes down, like, yelling, and it's really funny.
Yeah, it's like a couple of shots of him just, like, waiting to die as he's falling down.
Yeah, so that's, I don't know, like, this movie is clearly poorly directed. Like, did you guys notice any weird editing things?
I mean, was the whole movie really edited?
I swear to God, I think in the opening scene where John Cena, like, kills all those terrorists, I think there was at least 200 to 300 cuts of the camera.
Yeah. Also, they're playing some, like, upbeat music too. Like, I thought it was like a Guardians of the Galaxy kind of song. Like, it was like sound like 80s pop for like a second. Like when it first started, the tone was totally off with the music.
No, it's like pure and through military propaganda in the first, like, 4 minutes, because John Cena's, like, very tied to the military.
And he salutes. Like, there's like this one random scene where he just salutes to the camera.
Yeah, he just goes, at the beginning. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
So you're not telling me, you guys tell me you didn't enjoy when John Cena came in, covered in war paint, and just firing a machine gun from the hip, massacring hundreds of people?
That was great, but then the rest of the movie is...
How long do you think he runs through the woods? Like, how long? How much of the movie is him running?
Like 8 hours or something.
Yeah. Probably like 3 times. Yeah, probably like 8 hours, I would say.
I just love how, like, I think it was like 2 or 3 times in the movie where he's just like, "But sir, I'm a Marine." He's just so serious.
Okay.
Oh, you got it. Well, that's his whole character. He's a Marine, and then he gets discharged. But the guy's like, "You're the best damn Marine," and the movie kind of like, hooray! Yeah. And then he goes home and has sex with his wife, and his wife. That's it.
That's a setup for their whole relationship.
That's their whole relationship, and she's like, "You're so hot and cool," and he's like, "I know." And then she's like half dressed for half of her scenes.
I'm telling you, this is a Michael Bay film.
No,
but Michael Bay's son directed it.
No,
that could be just like your dad.
No, you don't get it. This is a Michael Bay movie, but this is fun. Michael Bay movies aren't fun.
Okay.
No,
have you seen Transformers 3?
Okay. No, okay.
Tyler, you're defending this movie, but it's a losing battle.
Did you guys not have any fun with this movie?
The beginning scene.
I had fun. Yeah. I mean, do you know when, like, the characters drank beer in this movie? Was that product placement?
Yes.
100%. Okay, this is a Michael Bay film. This is a Michael Bay film.
No, it's not. Are you?
What about in Transformers: Age of Extinction, where you get like that scene where Mark Wahlberg steps out of a truck and he like pops open the Bud Light and he has the logo and he's like, "This is so good." He just throws it at a guy or something.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliant. Yeah. Come on.
And there's that shot. There's that shot of like Gucci glasses, like you can see the logo.
In the
like,
Marine or
"Ooh."
Age of Extinction?
Age of Extinction.
Is there like, well, this entire movie is propaganda for WWE. I mean, Matt, you
And
can
the U.S. Army.
Yeah. Wait, Matt, how many wrestling moves do you think are in this movie?
How many what?
Like wrestling moves, like when John Cena fights the bad guys.
He choke slams that one guy through a bunch of boards, and that was amazing. There's not as many wrestling moves I wanted to see, but there are a few.
Well, does John Cena have like a large repertoire of diverse like flips and kicks?
No, he's known in the wrestling community as the 6 moves of doom. So basically, he only has like 6 moves, and that's all he does. There, like basically, his whole match is him getting beat up, and he does the 6 moves of doom, and then he wins the match, and that's like kind of like a joke in the wrestling like online community.
Yeah. What do you guys think of Robert Patrick as the villain?
He really liked that paycheck.
I don't know why he did this movie. I mean, I kind of get it, but I still don't.
He's having so much fun in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a point, I think, a line where I think he forgot he was filming, because I think he turns to John Cena's wife and he goes, "Is something going to happen between you and me?" And I'm convinced that was him probably asking the actress, and they kept the camera on and they're like, "Just keep it in." Because he goes he's like, "Maybe," and she's like, "Ew, no," and he's like, "But something happened between me and her," and she's and I'm
Yeah.
and you're like, "What's happening?"
This film spends like 30 seconds. He's going,
just
Wait, over there.
What was the deal with the police officer that comes in like way at the end of the movie who just wants the diamonds as well? Was he set up at all earlier in the movie? Because it's literally John Cena's waiting to go into the cabin. Some random guy shows up. He's like, "I'm a police officer," and John Cena's like, "I'm a Marine," and like, "Let's team up." And then they go in, and then like there's supposed to be this big reveal that the police officer wants the diamonds, but it's like we don't know who this police officer is, so why would we suspect him to be a straight cop when he's really a dirty cop?
I mean, the only indication that he's like some sort of double agent is that he just lets John Cena go on this rampage.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, go get him.
Yeah.
Go get the diamonds. Have fun."
And John Cena gets back. He gets his comeuppance by being used as a human shield. All Neil Patrick Harris just pumps him full of lead.
Sorry, keep going, Mark.
Oh yeah. I just totally like when I took like 2 seconds to think about it, it just didn't make any sense. Was how John Cena and like the buddy security cop were just like best friends by the end of the day.
Yeah, let's get beer together.
All of a sudden, they're like at dinner together, drinking some beers. It's like, wait, what?
They're lovers.
Yeah, that'd have been more interesting than what we got.
Can you imagine if the movie was, instead of the romantic love interest, like they're leaving the bar and like John Cena's like, "Oh, I kind of like this guy," and then the robbery happens. And the guy gets kidnapped, and John Cena has to go and save the security guard instead. That'd be such a better movie.
That'd have been great. I would have loved that.
I like to think of Robert Patrick hitting on that one guy. He has one funny line in this movie, and I wrote it down because I laughed at it, and it was like one clever joke where he goes like, "It's not so bad here. In like 2 to 3 years, you can be head of security or a position up." And John Cena's like, "Oh, cool. Like, how long have you been here?" And he's like, "Oh, 9 years." And I laughed at that, and that was a solid laugh. I love this.
I love this movie.
I love this movie. There is a great scene where Robert Patrick goes to rob the jewelry store, and we here at Film Frauds like to talk about filmmaking techniques. Well, I don't know if you guys noticed, Mark, like Matt, I don't know if you guys noticed, but when he enters the jewelry scene, it spins around him multiple times. It plays like cheetah noises, like the row, like kind of like the jaguar noise. And he walks in and he like struts, and then he shoots people, and then 2 people reveal them that be more robbers, and it's more weird. Like cut. This movie doesn't have a lot of cuts, at least in the first, and then it kind of like slows down. I see that look, Mark. But then like why does Robert Patrick kill his henchman in this movie? Do any of you guys know?
Because he's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's not as crazy as the other guy who's who was molested. Like he's because like it's because it's those two guys that are fighting, that are bickering most of the time. But like the guy that was molested is clearly much more of a psychopath than the guy who actually gets shot.
Yeah.
And killed.
Yeah, like Robert Patrick's character is like, we need a guy like that.
Yeah, you can tell the writers thought that the molested character was like the funniest guy. Like the actor was like so funny because I gave him so many like comedic lines that just weren't actually funny and when put to film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, keep going.
There was one line of dialogue that actually made me laugh, and it's when the guy I don't want to refer to him as the molested guy, but I just don't know his character's name.
I feel like we have to.
But when he goes to get the car, it's like he's like, "Oh, you get the van," and then he just looks up and he's like, "Fuck you." Remember that? Remember that?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I was like, "What? Was it PG-13? Was this a PG-13 movie?" No, it wasn't. There's no way.
I mean,
maybe you watch like because a lot of WWE movies like have unrated versions.
Yeah.
Where there's like a couple more F words. So I think it was probably released in theaters to PG-13. But then I'm sure that's what 12 Rounds did. It was PG-13 on release. Then like they had an unrated version where there's one F word in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this movie is. I don't know. Like I feel like this movie was because at this time I don't feel like WWE movies were very popular. This is 2006.
Hey.
The only one
they're more popular than they are now.
That's true. But I feel like this movie was a response to Dwayne The Rock Johnson and the Scorpion King, because The Mummy came out, or The Mummy 2. One of the Mummies had Dwayne The Rock Johnson in it, and then he had the Scorpion King movie. And I feel like this was an attempt to go, hey, John Cena's our star. Let's make John Cena seem really cool.
Because like The Rock was their last superstar. So when they lost The Rock to Hollywood, they needed a new top guy to lead the company, and that guy was John Cena. So yeah, it would make sense for them to try to push him as a Hollywood. And they did that for Triple H as well during that time. Kane was in some slasher horror.
Kane
films
was in See No Evil.
Yeah,
he was in, it's great.
So they were really just trying with any of their big wrestlers to make a movie out of them, and a lot of them were going to theaters too, which is the weird part about it.
Yeah, I owned Kane See No Evil on DVD for a while.
Yeah. So remember, like the big thing was May 19th in that movie, because that's when the day was coming out. So like when he was on like TV, he would, like when someone would say May 19th, he'd be like, "Why'd you say that date?" But that was my birthday, so like 9-year-old Matt was like,
"Oh my god."
A prophecy.
Yes.
There's a again, our Marine discussion has already run out. But I think there's a few moments. I just want to talk about two more things. One, this movie's an absolute, hey, look how cool John Cena is. He is physically like jacked. Like he wears the tightest shirts, but he also effortlessly beats everyone in this movie. I don't think he bleeds.
No.
Does he?
I don't think so.
Like he like you said, Mark, every single building he leaves in this movie explodes. I don't think he gets hurt. I don't think he tires.
Nope.
I think he, like, even when his wife, at the end, Robert Patrick sends, his wife is like handcuffed in a truck, and Robert Patrick sends it to like in the water, and she's drowning, and like she's attached to an iron bar that's like welded, and John Cena dives underwater and just rips the bar off. He kills Robert Patrick by wrapping him in a chain, throwing him, and whipping the chain so it breaks his neck. It's great.
You know what I also noticed? What I also noticed was that when John Cena like revives his wife, after she drowned, when her lungs filled with water and she passed out, when she like comes back to life, she just coughs. There's no water. She's like, "Oh, I'm awake now."
She swallowed it. It makes sense.
It went from her lungs to her stomach. That's
no. See, John Cena is a Marine, so he knows a secret kind of Heimlich maneuver that gets rid of all the water in her lungs. So he wasn't doing it to get her to cough up the water. He was, placing the water in other places because that's how smart he is.
Yeah.
I think you're missing out. He's not Matt. He's not a Marine. He's the best damn Marine.
Yes, you're right. Who also got expelled for what's it called?
Disobeying orders.
Yeah.
Did you guys also get, this is my final point, did you guys get hints of like a lot of gay panic in this movie? There are a number of scenes where they're like, "I'm not gay," or "You gay," like, and they kind of like play it off as it's 2006, it's a product of its time, but it also felt like a little bit there's between him and the security guard where they're fighting, and the rich people are like, oh, is he like your boyfriend or something? And the security guard's like, I don't take that insult, and then lets John Cena beat them up. There's like a few like lines in between with the villains where they're like jokes, and then they're like, oh, it's kind of like weird. I didn't. It's not really a big thing, but it happens too many times, like the molestation jokes.
Yeah.
Where you're like, what kind of movie is this?
It's
were
just
they
desperate for humor. That's all I can chalk it up to being.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's I honestly when I recommend The Marine, I thought there'd be more to it, but it's 90 minutes. It's pretty simple. John Cena just kills people and the movie's over.
Well, Tyler, since you love this movie so much, what is your final review for it?
Well, using our new rating system, I'm
It's A.
Oh no.
I'm going to unironically and genuinely give this movie a B.
Mark, what's the actual review for this movie?
This is a D.
Yeah, I was gonna say D as well.
You guys are so wrong.
We're giving it the D.
This movie is a solid, fun movie that knows what it is. I recommend it.
If you want to watch a movie, ironically, then I would if you like WWE, like John Cena, ironically, I would say maybe give it a watch, as long as you can watch it for free.
Yeah,
Mark.
and like in the words of Jeremy Johns, I think the best way to describe this is a good time, alcohol required.
Yeah. If we watched this movie together while we had alcohol, it'd probably be a lot more fun.
Yeah.
This movie might get an A for me at that case. It's
Oh,
it's
okay,
a solid
makes
movie.
sense.
It's fun. It knows what it is. All right. Well, that's our Marine discussion. We're going to round this podcast off. This is going to be a shorter episode because I thought the Marine would be longer. But what have we been watching this week, guys? Mark, what have you been watching?
So on Friday, I watched Knives Out, and I absolutely loved it. I've been putting this off for a while, but it came to Prime Video, so I just had to watch it. And I can absolutely I heard back last year that this script caused a bidding war with a bunch of studios, and they're all fighting for this script, and I can see why. It's so good. It's very rewarding. And I thought Ana de Armas and Daniel Craig were amazing. Same with Christopher Plummer. He had a very small role, but he was great.
Chris Evans a lot too. I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He was I think he was having a lot of fun. He was tired of playing the stoic
good guy.
Yeah.
super soldier.
Yeah.
So I watched that, and if I were to rate that, I'd give it an A. I loved it.
Nice.
And then I watched Scorsese's 1993 film, The Age of Innocence, which takes place in high society New York in the 1870s, and it stars Daniel Day-Lewis, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Winona Ryder. And it was really good. It was really, I think the best way to describe it is indulgent, because it takes place in a high society sort of culture. So the camera is always focusing on these beautiful rooms and chairs and food and plates. It's the best way to describe it is just indulgent. And it was really good. I read Roger Ebert's review, of course, and
of course.
it made me appreciate it much more. And it really he went into the the techniques that Scorsese used to make this film. And there's a lot of scenes in an opera, and it's shots of Daniel Day-Lewis point of view shots of him just looking through his opera glasses. And it took Martin Scorsese a year to figure out how he wanted to shoot that, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but the way he did it was very cool.
Worth a year of experts, or the year of thinking about.
Yeah, I was like, thanks, Marty. That was really cool. A year well spent. So yeah, I watched that on the Criterion Channel, and it was great. I'd probably give it. It's definitely an A movie, but I don't think I appreciated it enough. I'd give it if I were to rate it right now, it'd be a B. But if I watched it again, I'd probably say this is an A. So.
What's the movie called? I feel what's it called?
The Age of Innocence. It's based off it's based off a book. I don't know when the book came out. But
yeah, I know. I mean, Matt, we've seen Knives Out.
Yeah.
Knives Out is a lot of fun. It's one of the more fun and original movies of 2019. And Daniel Craig's on this really nice hot streak where he plays original characters that are great. Him and Logan Lucky, he's excellent, and so is Dives Out.
He's also great in Skyfall.
He's also great in Skyfall,
Yeah,
and he's
he's
not
a
so
really good
great
actor.
in what's the
Spectre.
Bond? Spectre?
Yeah.
Yeah, Spectre
That movie wasn't that good.
was not.
Nope.
Matt, what have you been watching this week?
Not much because I've been playing The Last of Us Part 2 at night and
You can talk about that. if you
watching
want.
New Japan Cup because New Japan's back and it's the only good thing happening in wrestling right now because the whole world's falling apart. So The Last of Us Part 2, I'm like 5 hours into it right now. And I played the first game and I thought it was good. I think it's quite overrated. I think the story is really good, but the gameplay in Part 1 is much to be desired. I think a lot of people look over it. Last of Us Part 2 so far, I think it's a huge improvement over the first one. There's a lot of controversy about the game, which I don't understand yet. Maybe when I play more of the game, I'll understand. But the gameplay and the graphics and the setting and the sound design are also great. That this game is definitely exceptional. I think it'll be one of my favorites of the year. And so far, I like the story a lot as well. And I'm excited to play more of it. I played for like 3 hours last night, and I usually don't play games for that long. I usually play for like 2 hours, but it really captures that like survival setting. Like your character's not very strong, so you get to crawl in the grass a lot and kind of like outsmart enemies. And it kind of like reminds me of like Rambo Part 1, where you get to use where Rambo uses instinct, has to use stealth. It feels very fitting of its post-apocalyptic setting. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. And New Japan Cup is awesome. I won't go much into it because no one really cares, but the matches are good so far. I just wish that there were crowds.
Yeah, we have to stop you from talking sometimes because this will become a wrestling podcast if it wasn't.
Yes, eventually, once Film Frauds blows up, I'm gonna go on my own and start doing wrestling podcasts.
The Film Frauds
enjoy me
wrestling
while it
pod.
lasts.
This is just a vessel to launch your wrestling podcast.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is it. Yeah, I don't care about movies at all, to be honest.
So this week
Time to wrap this up.
So this week I watched 3 movies. I watched 2 Bong Joon-ho movies. I watched Parasite and Mother.
Tell me what you think of Parasite.
Parasite's great. Parasite is great.
It's just great.
You want Best Picture? Why did it win Best Picture? Joker talk about society.
I don't think it's my favorite Bong Joon-ho movie. I over time. Okay, I have a controversial opinion about Mother.
I haven't seen Mother. Just clarifying.
I won't.
So Tyler, when you say spoilers and then give a 1-second warning before anyone can
spoilers,
react.
everyone dies.
Parasite's really great. I understand the praise of everything in it, and I completely agree. It deserves Best Picture. It has the main guy from Memories of Murder in it, and he's excellent. And I think the movie's really well directed, and I think there's a lot of subtlety with the camera Bong Joon-ho uses. And I think there's also one of the best horror shots I've ever seen in that movie. I won't spoil it, but it was. I don't really get creeped out by horror movies, and that was one of the few shots. Just the way the camera's framed and in which the lighting is framed and lighting is used. I was like, oh my god. I really enjoyed it. I do like. There's a certain point, and this might be just the kind of the messed up brain part of me, but I wish there was kind of more of a grotesque ending. I wish there was more of like a violent payoff to what we got.
Right. We're talking about Parasite?
Parasite, yeah.
Okay.
I know we're talking about Parasite. They're talking about Mother.
Oh, no.
I wasn't sure.
No, I was talking about Parasite. No. I can talk about the ending to Mother, which I won't.
Okay, I know what shot you were talking about then.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, this makes so much more sense now. Okay.
You guys were looking at me like I was stupid, and I was like, what did I miss?
Yeah.
I do like Parasite. I just wish there's a little bit more payoff. I'm not saying the payoff was bad. But I don't know. It was just me. I think I really like the character moments though in that movie.
Yeah. Okay, Mark, tell him why Tyler's wrong.
You are wrong.
Yeah.
We have a segment of the show now where I just go to Mark and explain why Tyler's wrong.
Go rewatch the Oscars.
No, I mean, I don't know. I thought the ending to Parasite was amazing. Especially the last shot of the movie, I think is really incredible. I thought it was violent enough. Like it wasn't necessarily that need more violence. I thought like what happens is so tragic that it didn't need like gore or anything to make it more of a fitting climax.
Oh god.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite moments of this film, and I won't go into details because I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen it yet, was when just the tone completely shifts about like a little past midway through the movie. Like you don't see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Things start happening. When I was in the theater and I was watching this back in October, and like things started to happen, and there's that complete shift, and I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen next. I was in complete suspense, and I was just relishing the moment because it's very, that doesn't happen a lot for me in movies, and so that profoundly impacted me in my opinion on this film, and goddamn, do I love this movie.
Well, that's not me discrediting the movie. I do really like it, and I think it's a good movie. But there's also it might be like my third or fourth favorite Bong Joon-ho movie.
Wow.
I love Okja. I love Snowpiercer, and the more that time passes, the more the Host grows on me.
Host is good, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Host
the Host might be my favorite.
I really, really, I want to rewatch Okja. I really like Okja. And the more time passes, the more I kind of think about the Host and think that's a really damn good.
Is
movie.
the Host on Netflix? I mean,
it's
Hulu?
It's on Hulu. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I want
I have not
that.
seen
It's
his
been
first
like years
movie.
since I've seen it.
I have not seen his first movie, Barking Dogs Never Bite. But
That's on Hulu.
I do want to talk about Mother for a second. I don't feel like I feel like I missed something with this movie. This movie is critically and audience-wise praised.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I missed something with this movie. I think this movie is boring. I don't think it's funny. And I think the movie is not as... I think this is a big step below the subtlety and the talent with Bong Joon-ho's writing. I think this is a boring movie. I think Mother's boring. I think it has nothing interesting in it.
Yeah, so I watched it too, and I was texting a girl at the time, so like wasn't really giving the movie the credit it deserved at the moment. But then I watched like a review for it, like an analysis of it, and I was like, this movie is amazing. So it's like one of those things I think like with Marquez and Roger Ebert, like
yeah, I was about to say
yeah.
I don't know.
So like I mean like I picked up on some of it when I was watching it, but like the message in the movie and like the ending. Like I didn't get the ending when I watched it, but I saw like someone's interpretation. I was like, "Whoa, this is insanely good." So like I kind of wish I paid more attention. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he didn't do a good job of getting the message clearly across. But it's probably my least favorite of the Bong Joon-ho movies.
Again, that's not me saying it's a. I think I missed something with this movie. I also thought the ending was very telegraphed. I think the movie tries to be a lot subtler, but I think it's very telegraphed from the beginning what's happening or what has happened. But that's just me. Again, I'm probably going to get absolutely destroyed. Like, there's going to be, like, a team Mark and Matt, and then a team cancel Tyler now. I do like his movies. Every movie I've seen from him, except for his first one, I've really enjoyed. I don't know. And then I watched Akira. Akira's great. I get the inspiration for Akira and why it's so important.
That's the anime, right?
That's the anime. Yeah, it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
You can watch the sub and the dub, and it's horrifically violent. It's really also kind of like not fantastical, but kind of just trippy, I think is a good word to put it. It's fun. It's a nice movie. I enjoyed it. That's it. That's all I've been watching. That was my controversial opinion about Mother.
Yeah. About Parasite too.
Yeah.
Wait, so so what's your favorite film of 2019 then?
What came out in 2019?
Oh God, what?
Mine's a tie between Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and
Marriage
Parasite.
Story. Marriage Story is by far my favorite movie.
Really?
2019. Yeah, I love Marriage Story.
Okay, let's just quickly here rank your top 5 films of 2019 because I'm curious.
Oh Jesus. Yeah.
I'll list mine off the top of my head.
Go for it.
I think I got it.
I have to look
Portrait
at
of Lady on Fire.
Okay.
Portrait of Lady on Fire, The Lighthouse, Knives Out, Uncut Gems, and probably Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think.
Give me a minute.
Yeah.
I'm very confident about the first two.
From what I remember, I had Marriage Story, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I really dug Jojo Rabbit. Uncut Gems was great. I surprised. As time passes, I kind of really dig Rocket Man more and more. I didn't.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
I don't have like a great. I'm just gonna look up like 2019 movies.
I have mine.
Okay.
I have Parasite, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, tied for 1. I have Paddleton at number 3, Knives Out number 4, Marriage Story number 5.
Knives Out is great. I love Knives Out.
You can watch Paddleton.
Avengers
that
Endgame
movie's-
at number 0.
I wonder. I'm trying to see. People love Parasite, The Irishman. I thought The Irishman was good.
Oh, 3 for me is Parasite. So it'd be Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Lighthouse, Parasite, Knives Out, Uncut Gems.
Those are good. The Farewell's great. I forgot about The Farewell. Us,
Haven't
I think,
seen
has
that.
lasted really well. I haven't seen a lot
Really?
of. Yeah, I think Us has aged well. I haven't seen stuff like 1917, Jojo Rabbit. I said haven't seen The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. 2019 was weird. I didn't see like all the movies that came out, even though it's kind of blasphemy for having a movie podcast. But
Yep.
is what it is. But yeah, that's You guys have any other final comments or anything?
Blue Velvet's a bad movie.
It is an excellent movie. In fact, it's one of my favorite movies ever. And Matt, you are a fraud squared.
Well, Roger Ebert agrees with me, so
Yeah, well,
you calling Roger Ebert a
nobody-
fraud?
Perfect. I mean, if you watch the Siskel and Ebert episode, Siskel thought it was genius.
Yeah, well,
okay?
Siskel's paid by David Lynch, so
Oh, okay. So now we're going into conspiracy theories.
It's not conspiracy theories. It's the
I'm
fact.
not paid by David
How
Lynch.
could someone like it if they weren't
I-
paid off?
I would love to get paid by David Lynch. And I think
You could be
Blue
one of the
Velvet is a
kids in his new
masterpiece.
movie.
Oh God, please no.
Yeah,
All right, Matt. What are we watching next week?
we are watching. I am the law, right? Dread.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're watching Dread next week, starring my best friend Carl Urban.
The 2012 one, not the 90-something.
Well, that's why I said Carl Urban.
Well, I know. I'm just specifying because you didn't do it fast
Yeah,
enough.
well, I specified with Carl Urban.
Maybe
because...
people don't know who Carl Urban is, and they think he just looks like Sylvester Stallone. He doesn't take the mask off.
Well, his name's not Sylvester Stallone, so
He doesn't take my people might not know. Okay, we're
They
watching Dread.
got the same chin.
We're watching Dread next week. Dread's our movie, and then Mark will recommend a movie after that. So
Oh, I get to choose.
You
Good
get to
thing
choose one.
we're as far away from Tyler's recommendation as possible.
No, we
Okay,
have
we'll
to.
watch Blue Velvet.
God damn
Already
it!
seen it.
To watch a
No, you
good
didn't wa-
movie.
You watch the first hour and then you like fast forward to the end.
I
It
watched the
doesn't
first
count.
hour 45, fast forward through 10 minutes, and then got to the end and liked the end.
How dare you?
Damn it. All right, guys. This was fun. The Marine is the best movie we reviewed so far on this podcast. I'm just throwing that out there. Thank you guys for watching.
Not with the handmaiden out there.
Yeah. Screw the handmaiden, screw the wrestler. Marine's where it's at. So thank you guys for watching. Any final comments? Are we good?
Au revoir.
Or,
Goodbye. I can't think of goodbye in another language off the top of my head.
well, I'm going to save you from embarrassment and not cut that out. Goodbye, guys. Thanks for watching.